tired and weak. I could search this whole world over, you'd still be everything that I need. You're my bread when I'm hungry. You're my shelter from troubled winds. You're my anchor in life's ocean, but most of all, you're my best friend. You're my bread when I'm hungry. You're my shelter from troubled winds. You're my anchor in life's ocean, but most of all, you're my best friend.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, all my memories gather round her. Miner's lady, stranger to blue water. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama.
We've done us proud to come this far, down through the years to where we are, side by side, hand in hand. We've lived and died for this great land. We've done us proud. I sailed the seas in search of freedom. I tilled the soil for seed to grow. I built the fences to hold the cattle. I mined the earth in search of gold. I sheared the sheep of golden fleeces by side, hand in hand, we've lived and died for this great land. We've done us proud. I kept a home and raised a family. I taught your children as if my own. I painted pictures to show the beauty. I wrote the stories to keep the flame. We've done us proud to come this far, down through the years to where we are, side by side, hand in hand, we've lived and died for this great land. We've done us proud. We've done us proud. I work the factory. I work the land. I build the houses. I make the plans. Side by side. I drive the highway.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, all my memories gather round her. Miner's lady, stranger to blue water, dark and dusty, painted on the sky, misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, I hear her voice in the morning hours. She calls me. The radio reminds me of my home far away. Driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Yesterday, country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, take me home.
up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rain fall soft upon your track. And until we meet again, may God hold you safely in the palm of his hand. May the hills come down to greet you. May the rocks give shelter in the storm. May the dust be soft beneath your feet, and the dark give rest before the dawn. And until we meet again, may God hold you safely in the palm of his hand. 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 Safely in the palm of his hand.
A wonderful tribute to start proceedings today, ladies and gentlemen, with the family escorting Laurie to his final resting place, a placing of flowers. And yes, a wonderful tribute. He would have been so wrapped in that. Yeah. It'll be an emotional day for a lot of people today, me included. I had the pleasure of working alongside Laurie I'll rephrase that, being employed alongside Laurie for many years at the paper mill, and I can see some of his former workmates here today, and he would be very proud that you people have come to pay your respect. Right at the finish of our service today, there will be a couple of casks of wine suddenly appear, and you are all invited to have a little tipple in memory of Laurie and have a final drink with him. He did like the odd drop on the odd day. Well, sometimes the odd 2 or 3 drops, if I remember rightly. But yeah, that'd be good to help say farewell to this great man. So officially it's good morning to you all, and a big welcome as we meet to honour the life of Mr. Laurie Mervyn Maxwell. My name is Dudley Corbett, and I'm indeed honoured to be invited. In fact, I wasn't invited. I'm under orders by Laurie to say farewell to him today. Thanks, mate. And to join with you in expressing our thanks for his life, to say goodbye to him, and to support each other in the loss of a much-loved husband, father, grandfather, great-grandfather, and friend to many. Laurie would not have wanted you to be sad, but for each of you to smile and remember the great times which you shared together. And each and every one of you here today will have many stories to tell. Some could even be told in public. You will have a lot of stories to share around the urn afterwards. And you will continue to share in memories, etc., over some light refreshments, and many are the stories and memories which will be recalled. Laurie, as I said earlier, would not have wanted to have a great big fuss made at his farewell. he would have said, now don't go on 1+. I used to call him number one because he was the number one stirrer, and he reckoned I was, and he called me 1+. So he would have said, now don't go on too long. Make things short and sweet, respectful of course, but tell my family and friends to move on and to make the most of their time. He certainly wouldn't want you to be sad, but he would be so thankful that you good people here today meant so much to him, and you will all have and hold dear many special memories of this special bloke. And as we say farewell to Laurie, let us remember the love and the laughter and the great country music that he shared with us. He will always walk beside us in spirit, and his legacy will continue to inspire us all into the future. As I said earlier, I had the great pleasure of working alongside Laurie for quite some years at the paper mill, and we shared a lot of fun, a lot of laughter. I found him to be a right royal good bloke, and everybody that I worked with at that particular time, we always thought the world of Laurie, and everybody used to try and have a little bit of one-upmanship with stirring and the rest, but I think we all had our turn at that. But no, they were great days, and we worked with some great people, and Laurie Maxwell was one of the greatest people that we worked with. There's no doubt about that. He was the last person, I believe, when the mill shut down, when Papermakers shut down, he had the job of shutting the gate for the very last time. And many of us here today walked through that gate on the way to work and afterwards for many years. And when Laurie finally went out the gate and locked the gate, he said a couple of words, which I won't repeat now, and with the keys, he walked through the car park down to the river, and he threw the keys in the Emu River. So if any of you here want to go and open the gate, you better take some gumboots or swimming tights or something. The keys would still be there somewhere. So, yeah, as I sat with the family the other day, I learned a few things about Laurie, but I'm not about to pinch anybody's thunder, so not to worry, Rhonda. I'm not going to cut in on your lovely eulogy. But just to start with, and as a way of introducing his daughter Rhonda, I can tell you that Laurie was born in Ulverston on the 15th of the 10th, 1929, the year of the great floods along the northwest coast, and Rhonda will tell us a little bit more about that. He was born to Leonard and Olive and at Guns Plains, and yeah, well, I'm starting to say too much anyway. I'd now like to call on Rhonda to come forward and to tell us a story or two about a loving father. Thanks, Rhonda.
So, thank you all for being here today as we come together to commemorate and honour the life of Laurie Maxwell, a father, a grandfather and great-grandfather. He loved his family. In fact, one of the last things he said to me was, "I just love my family." So the grandchildren and great-grandchildren knew him as Pop, Old Pop and Poppy Mac. They were fortunate to have him in their lives. 4 generations is incredibly special. To many here, he was a friend. Laurie was a social person who loved to chat and acquired many special friends throughout his life, and I know many of them are here today. Laurie was born in 1929. The family were living in Guns Plains at the time, and Dad was born at the time of severe flooding in the area. The bridges were down, the roads were flooded. A flying fox was built over the river, and my poor grandmother in labour was taken across the flying fox. A horse and cart with hay to make it nicer stood closer and took her closer to town, and one of the only cars in the area took her the rest of the way to the local midwife, and Laurie Mervyn Maxwell was born to Olive Irene and Leonard Henry. So when I was pregnant with my first child, my grandmother reminded me of that story and made me sure that I knew that I had it easy. So, yeah. Dad's life was spent in various places. The family lived on and managed a farm at Doctor's Rocks for a time. Dad's siblings, Merle, Lorna, Dorothy and Kevin, were added to the family. He went to Somerset School, which at that time was down by the railway track. He could remember the children carrying their own chairs to the new school, which was later built in Rag Street. This school, of course, is no longer there. Dad told me that he used to lay rabbit traps around the farm, and he'd check them every morning and every evening. He took the rabbit skins to someone who gave him money at the bottom of Falmouth Street on the way to school. And then he would give his brothers, or his brother and sisters, money for their lunch out of the skins that he had collected. Laurie left school in grade 6 as the Depression took hold, and he was sent to Guns Plains to live and work with his grandfather on the farm. We went back not so long ago with him to visit where the old farmhouse cottage stood, and he remembered the other families and relatives, such as the Marshalls, who lived in the area. Noreen Marshall married Dad's cousin, Tom Pike, and they were even friends and neighbours at Yarrandoo, where they shared the odd ice cream and lemonade stout. Laurie had an early interest in motorbikes with his friends and family, and he began to work at APPM in 1947. He was to spend over 30 years there, finishing in 1982 when the East Mill closed. He tells the story, as Dudley mentioned, of being the last person to lock the gates and taking the keys over and tossing them in the river. He has many fond memories of friends and many tales to tell of his time at the mill. He was known by some as Wishbone. Wishbone was the name of the camp cook on a TV show, I think it was Rawhide. Well, Laurie loved to cook, and he'd often take meals in to prepare or reheat for the men on his shift, so they called him Wishbone. Many of the people he worked with were to become long-life friends. He was senior shift superintendent when he finished, and I've often been told about how highly regarded he was, both personally and professionally. The mill was a major feature in all our family's life at the time. They provided dental care, family outings, picnics, Christmas parties, and fancy dress nights. Laurie met Eunice Joy Hall at the Darwin Sports. He remembered that date every single year. Do you remember the date, Rhonda? But he remembers going there originally with friends and suddenly looking around, and all the friends were left, leaving him sitting there with Eunice alone. Apparently it was all set up. So Eunice was working at the time as a telephonist, and they began seeing a lot of each other. Laurie was still riding his motorbike, but one day he said that he would pick her up after work, and he had a big surprise for her. She started to wonder if it's a car, but no. When she saw him after work, he'd brought along a sidecar. Eunice refused to get in and stormed up the Montello Hill, with Laurie going along behind, trying to get her to at least give it a go. Apparently she did try it later, but she hated it, and she said it felt like her bottom was bumping straight on the road. Needless to say, Laurie sold the sidecar. They survived this ordeal, however, and they went on to marry. They were married in the Penguin Methodist Church. They lived there for a time with Dad's mother in Oat Street, Montello. Nan travelled later and later moved, and Laurie and Eunice took over the house, eventually buying it. This became the home that my brother Gary, Ricky and I were brought up in. Our growing up there was a happy time. Laurie worked at the APPM, but he also did extra work on local farms, and particularly at Tom Pike's farm at Mount Hicks. We were well looked after and had lots of holidays in the caravan, especially at Ulverston. Our home was always full of lots of people. Everyone was made welcome. Neighbours such as the Rogers family became lifelong friends. Our own friends growing up were always welcome too. Barbecues and shared meals, as well as the occasional beer, were common. Card evenings with friends were popular in those days. Mum and Dad were both very friendly, outgoing and incredibly social people. Laurie loved his garden, and this began with the garden at Oat Street. He had a great veggie patch, as well as raspberries and apples and gooseberries. There was a chicken coop at the bottom of the garden, and later he took a special interest in roses. I remember one fateful time when it was really hot, and Dad had planted a large patch of oats, grown to let the ground rest. And Gary, Ricky and I, we were hot, so we rolled in this nice, cool, long grass, and it was lovely until we got caught. Dad was ropeable. Laurie and Eunice bought a van later in life and travelled for many years. He remembered so many places, and he had lots of stories of people that they'd met and the wonderful places that they'd visited. They travelled most years in winter to the mainland, catching up with family in Queensland. When Jim and I started travelling in our van, I'd often phone Dad, and he'd remember amazing details of the places that we were visiting. He had a map of their travels, which he took to his room at Yarrandoo as a reminder of those special times. The house at Oak Street was eventually sold, and they built a new house in Ulverston. They only stayed a short time there, however, and built a house at Sisters Beach in 1989. They lived in the van on the block while they built, and the whole of the building process was very much a family affair, with everyone helping where they could. I still have a memory of Mum trying to cook, I think we called it mince muck, over the fire, and there were flies all over the place, and she was so hot. But it was a great time, and Mum and Dad both said that that was a really special time for them. The house on the creek at Sisters was to be a place where they were both extremely happy. They made new friends and family visited often. Barbecues, backyard cricket, swims in the creek, sometimes with a tractor tyre, made it a great place for grandchildren. Everyone was welcome. The barbecue was always ready, and the bicky jars were full. By this time, of course, their family had grown. I'd married Jim, and our children, Aidan and Shannon, were born. Gary married Lorraine, and they had Justin and Danica. Ricky and Sharon's children, Carmen, Nicholas and Devon, were born. Ricky later married Nola, and throughout this time, Nan and Pop were the heart of our family life and a huge part of our children's lives. Pop gave them all nicknames, and some of the memories are shared in the program today. Fishing was a great interest with Laurie. He had a little tinny that he took to the lakes and out at Sisters in good weather. He loved going out in his friend Max's boat. They caught heaps of flathead, which were freshly tossed on the barbecue. There are many memories and stories to be told about fishing. Some of the stories were not necessarily ones that I always knew much about, but they had some famous fishing expeditions, I know. They very reluctantly sold the house at Sisters, feeling the need to be less isolated as they got older. Finding a new home was to be a problem, though. Nothing seemed quite right. Dad said he did not want to be near a main road. He had to have easy access for driving in and out. He did not want to be doing major renovations. It should not have a large garden, and it must not have oxalis. So the house at Brickport Road did not match a single one of those criteria. But they renovated and created a home that they both loved. They spent many hours out on the deck admiring the lovely garden and creek. And again, they created a beautiful garden, welcomed family and friends, and built close relationships with neighbours. They celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary with a wonderful gathering on the deck of their home. Their time together there was to be special. Eunice sadly died near Christmas 2014. She'd been suffering ongoing pain with facial neuralgia, but a sudden stomach illness took her unexpectedly. This, of course, was a major blow for Laurie, who took some time to overcome his grief, but in his own pragmatic way, he began to rebuild his life. He loved his garden and was forever finding projects to build and create. Every time we visited there was another project on the go. Laurie was always very practical, capable of seeing things in different ways, finding different solutions to problems. He kept his family, friends and neighbours in vegetables, and he loved to share what he grew. He took great delight in sharing a photo of him picking beans from a ladder and a trestle. I'm sure everybody in the room's seen that photo. He had it on his phone and forever showed people, including the people at the hospital and so on. He loved caring for the local ducks and ducklings he watched over each year, and he especially loved tending for only chook, who lovingly offered eggs, even if it was only a tiny, tiny single offering near the end of its life. Laurie was happy with life at Brickpool Road, and he made adjustments when he could no longer drive. But a fall at Easter 2024 caused a serious setback. A fracture was found in his neck. He was airlifted to Launceston, fitted with a neck brace, and had an operation for a pacemaker. Now, this was a lot for a man of 94, but not for him, because on top of this he got COVID. He somehow survived all of this, which is a great testament to his strength of character. He really wanted to return to his own home, though, after a short stay with us, and with support from carers, cleaners and garden help, as well as ongoing family support, he gradually got used to this new life. Another fall, however, began to make him think about being alone, and after a visit to Yarrandoo for possible respite while I went away, he said that he liked the room that he was to be allocated. It had a nice view over Table Cape and courtyard access, and he said, "Rhonda, why don't I just stay here? I think it's time." So now began the process of selling the house and accessing aged care. We were so lucky, however, that he basically made this decision in his own way and saw for himself an understanding of the level of care that he was coming to need. He was positive in accepting and approaching this move, and while I can't say it was all smooth sailing, he began to settle in, and he looked forward to visits and outings with family and friends, and he loved his regular lunch with his friend Joe. Throughout his life, Laurie has approached things with a practical and pragmatic attitude, maybe a tinsy bit of stubbornness. He just got on with things. He had a great sense of humour, and he really had the edge on anyone with dad jokes. Tales from work and family and travels were all about finding fun in any moment. It was not a yarn to tell, and it was always a yarn to tell and a laugh to be had. As we gather here today, I know that we're all thinking of the place in our individual hearts and memories this amazing person will continue to hold. We've recently been overwhelmingly reminded of his kindness to others and his love and care for his family, and we're all truly blessed to have had such a remarkable person in our lives. He died peacefully and was soon surrounded by a family who were able to gather. He made the best, the absolute best of his 95 years, living a happy life full of memories. Those memories are ours to cherish.
Thank you, Rhonda. A wonderful tribute from a loving daughter, and I think, ladies and gentlemen, that such a eulogy is worthy of a respectful round of applause. Yeah. Some of the times that we shared, as I said earlier, could be shared in public, but one particular memory that I have, along with the former workmates that are here today, is when we finished afternoon shift at the mill, we used to gather in the car park, and suddenly there were a few glasses of water appear, and we used to toast each other and toast anything else that we could possibly think of, and many were the stories, and we quite often didn't get home until rather late in the next morning, but it was all good. We had a lot of fun. And there was a fellow who used to work at Papermakers who did a fair bit of sketching, and I can't remember who it was, but I'm sure that if he'd have known that Laurie started his journey in this world across the Leven River in a flying fox, and also having a motorbike with a sidecar, I think probably a couple of those sketches may well have appeared on the Papermakers notice board. I wish I'd have known about this some years ago, Rhonda, but never mind. I have a very special poem I'd like to share with you, and I read this one on very special occasions, and today is one of those very special occasions. And it's called The Man in the Glass. When you get what you want for your struggles for self, and the world makes you king for a day, just go to a mirror and look at yourself and see what that man has to say. For it isn't your father or mother or wife whose judgment upon you must pass. The fellow whose verdict counts most in your life is the one staring back from the glass. Some people might think you're a straight shooting chum and call you a wonderful guy, but the man in the glass says you're only a bum if you can't look him in the eye. He's the fellow to please, never mind all the rest, for he's with you clear to the end, and you've passed your most difficult, dangerous test if the man in the glass is your friend. You may fool the whole world down the pathway of tears, of years, and get pats on the back as you pass, but your final reward will be heartache and tears if you've cheated the man in the glass. Laurie Mervyn Maxwell didn't cheat the man who looked back at him in the glass. Well done, Laurie. We'll miss him in the garden, doing odd jobs here and there. We'll miss him at the table when we see the empty chair. We'll miss him at the fireside when we gather round the blaze. We'll miss him, oh, we'll miss him in 1,000 different ways. When troubles come, the family would always turn to him. He always had a cheery word when things were looking grim. And now he's gone, we know he wouldn't want us to be sad, but life can never be the same without our Laurie, our dear dad. And I think Laurie would have said this to people remaining: remember me with a smile, now my life on earth is done. My dreams have all been fulfilled and a new life has begun. Remember me with a smile when grief may cause you to weep. One day we will all laugh again when our next meeting we keep. Let's be thankful we shared precious love. Keep the memories warm for a while. Let them bring peace to your heart, and remember me with a smile. So a dearly loved man has now started on the next stage of his journey. His kindness, his wisdom, his understanding, and above all, just being there for each and every one of you as you grew, gave you the foundations for your lives. We are privileged indeed to have been touched by Laurie's warmth, his strength, and his humility, and a fair dose of stirring along the way as well. This good bloke inspired us with his life, and the legacy that Laurie leaves will continue to inspire us all into the future. So in grief at his passing, but in gratitude for his life, today we have gathered to say a final farewell to Laurie and to thank him for the privilege of being numbered amongst those who grieve. If those of you who knew Laurie well can profit from his example, if you can each try to live just a little better for having known him, then through you, Laurie, will have a continuing stake into making the world into a better and a happier place. May you all find comfort, richness and example in your many memories. May you find strength and support in your love for one another, and may you find peace in your hearts. And those memories are now about to appear on the big screen as we go back a little in Laurie's life, and history will expound itself in front of you as we listen to a couple of Laurie's favourite songs, and the photographs will jog many memories. Thank you.
Looking forward, looking back, I've come a long way down the track, got a long way left to go, making songs from what I know, making sense of what I've seen, all the love we've had between you and I along the track, looking forward, looking back. There are strange days full of change on the way, but we'll be fine. Unlike some, I'll be leaning forward to see what's coming, looking forward, looking back. I've come a long way down the track, got a long way left to go, making songs from what I know. If I'm alone at night, I can see through all triviality of the day, and I'm okay. I just think of those who are dear to me, looking forward, looking back. I've come a long way down the track, got a long way left to go, making songs from what I know, making songs from what I know, looking forward, looking back.
Well, it's all right, riding around in the breeze. Well, it's all right, if you live the life you please. Well, it's all right, doing the best you can. Well, it's all right, as long as you lend a hand.
You can sit around and wait for the phone to ring, waiting for someone to tell you everything. sit around and wonder what tomorrow will bring. Maybe a diamond ring.
Well, it's alright, even if they say you're wrong. Well, it's alright, sometimes you gotta be strong. Well, it's alright, as long as you got somewhere to lay. Well, it's alright, every day is Judgment Day.
Maybe somewhere down the road away, you'll think of me and wonder where I am these days. Maybe somewhere down the road when somebody plays Purple Haze.
Well, it's alright, even when push comes to shove. Well, it's alright, if you got someone to love. Well, it's alright, everything will work out fine. Well, it's alright, we're going to the end of the line.
Don't have to be ashamed of the car I drive. I'm just glad to be here, happy to be alive. And it don't matter if you're by my side, I'm satisfied.
Well, it's alright, even if you're old and gray. Well, it's alright, you still got something to say. Well, it's alright, remember to live and live, live. Well, it's alright, the best you can do is forgive. Well, it's alright, riding around on the breeze. Well, it's alright, if you live the life you please. Well, it's alright, even if the sun don't shine. Well, it's alright, we're going to the end of the line.
Well, thank you to the family for sharing those very treasured memories with us, and lots of memories there, and we just hope that those who are watching on live stream today, people who can't be with us for a variety of reasons, even though they can't be here in person, I know that they're here in spirit and they share your sorrow today. Laurie's wish for you people remaining, I'm sure, would be, may the road rise up to meet you, may the wind be always at your back, may the sun shine warmly upon your face, and the rains fall softly upon your field. And until we meet again, may God hold you safely in the palm of his hand. Just before we come to the final part of our service today, farewell to Laurie. I'd like to thank the family for giving me the great honour of helping to say farewell to Laurie, and it has been a great honour. But there's one thing I must do. I now know that Laurie has been elevated to the Stirrers Hall of Fame, and I've bought his stirring spoon, and I'd like to place that on the casket. Yeah, thank you for that. So we have now reached that part of our service we call the committal, where we commit Laurie to the next stage of his journey. We have met to pay tribute and to say farewell, and so tenderly and reverently we commit Laurie for cremation. We now leave Laurie in peace. With the greatest of respect, we bid him our farewell. Thus, thinking of him, let us leave this place in quietness of spirit and live with concern for one another, resolved that we who live on and those who come after us shall have life and have it more abundantly, as per Laurie's wishes. You were a good man to many people, Laurie. Gone, but never forgotten. Gone, but never apart. For we are blessed with memories held deeply within our hearts. Thanks for a million wonderful memories, Laurie, old mate. Farewell. And may you forever rest in peace. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good on you, Laurie. Always number one. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Could I invite you now to stand?
A sign from above, on the wings of a dove. When troubles surround us, when evils come, the body grows weak, the spirit grows numb. When these things beset us, He doesn't forget us. He sends down His love on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a snow white dove. He sends His pure, sweet love, a sign from above, on the wings of a dove. When Noah had drifted on the flood many days, he searched for land in various ways. Troubles he had some, but wasn't forgotten. He sent him His love on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a snow white dove. He sends His pure, sweet love, a sign from above, on the wings of a dove, on the wings of a snow white dove. He sends His pure, sweet love, a sign from above, on the wings of a dove.